Tabby, thank you very much for joining me today on today's episode. It's a pleasure to have you on. If you wouldn't mind just explaining to everyone who you are, where you currently work, and what you're currently doing as your job title right now.
Well, thank you for having me, Dylan. So my name is Tabita Mcloughlin. I work in Hodson Bay Hotel. At the moment, I'm operations manager there. I've been there nearly 8 years in and out, because
Wow.
hospitality. So when I first started there 8 years ago, I started as a F&B supervisor.
Okay.
Then I left because I got a promotion as restaurant manager, because I was doing restaurant manager course at the time as well. Was restaurant manager in a different hotel, was there for a year, came back to Hodson Bay after a year as restaurant manager. Yes. It's hospitality is very, everyone is moving around,
Yeah.
So I was restaurant manager for a few years, then I was food and beverage manager, then I was executive accommodation manager, and hence I'm operations manager now. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
I've been through half of the departments in the hotel,
Yeah. You've been through quite a few.
Yeah.
So obviously you've climbed the ladder a bit there. Was that something you wanted to do, or is it something that just like happened along the way where you just got the opportunity to level up?
Well, it kind of happened. When I first came to Ireland, like nearly 15 years ago, I didn't plan to end up in hospitality. I didn't plan to be operations manager, or, you know what I mean? I had actually no plan at all.
Okay.
I was just traveling the world. So I was in Greece at the time, and I was working a 4-star resort. My contract finished there, and then I had a friend in here, and she was like, "Oh, would you not come to Ireland?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not? Like, I've nowhere else to go, except go back home." But I didn't want to do that. So I kind of end up, you start as a waiter, and then you go up. And I
Yeah.
suppose because I was kind of like a natural leader, and they kind of saw that in me, and as well I put in the work, because then I went and I did management, and I did hospitality, and I did a few courses, to help me understand better.
Yeah.
And then I just, Tabitha, I think you'd be good for this. What about this? Would you think about doing that? You know what I mean? So that's how can I got. And then after a few years, once you have a few years in management, you'd be like, well, I'm actually not too bad at this,
Yeah.
Then I was, more ambitious, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And then I guess other than obviously you said you had like a bit of a break where you left and you came back. Other than
Mm-hmm.
that, what do you think kept you at Hodson Bay for so long? Because I feel like these days it's quite rare to find someone who's quite dedicated in hospitality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of people moving around, I have to say. But our core management team we have in Hudson Bay, they've been there actually longer than me.
Okay.
The longest manager we have, he's been there for nearly 35 years, 30
Oh wow.
since they opened literally the Hudson Bay. And even our director's been there for 25, financial director over 20, purchasing over 20. It is a great team in there. And it's not just the management team, but even the staff. There is a great teamwork, and you know what I mean. It's always, I think, it's not necessarily like the work, because hospitality is nearly the same in every hotel.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, hospitality. But what makes you stay in one place, I think it's the people you work with.
The people you work with.
Yeah. So it's an amazing team. There's no, you just get on with your day, whatever hard it is. You crack a joke. It's
Yeah.
a great team, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you
And
mean. I think. Oh, go on.
even some of the staff we have, like just staff, because they didn't want to progress, because some people, they don't want to be necessarily to go up to management. They're just happy to be where they are. They've been there for 8, 10, 15 years, so yeah,
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah, I know what you mean. I think so. When I used to work in a hotel, it was really nice to be able to get along with everyone. It just
Mm-hmm.
made obviously it can be quite stressful, and there's a lot of moving pieces that happen, especially if you do like weddings and events as well. But to be
Yeah.
able to work with a team where you're all sort of dedicated, and you can have a laugh, and you can crack a joke like you
Uh-huh.
say. It makes it a lot. It makes the stress of it a lot more
Yeah.
bearable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously you say that you've done quite a few roles there now.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those roles do you think taught you most about how the hotel runs or how the events run?
Mm, I think I kind of started seeing the bigger picture when I went to accommodation. And it's funny saying that, because people are like, okay, but that's upstairs. You weren't downstairs. But I already been downstairs, in the food and beverage. It's kind of, the upstairs is like the room division. So, but when you're in food and beverage, it's so intense, and it's nonstop. The food and beverage doesn't stop. It's 24/7, from breakfast to lunch to dinner to bar, residence bar, weddings, maybe start for 2-3 hours, between 4 and 7, and then you're back again. So it's quite intense. So you don't really see the bigger picture of organizing. But when I moved to accommodation, the structure there was so different. And you have no choice then to be actually organized. There is no choice, because the check-in is check-in, the check-out is check-out, and check-in, all the rooms have to be back. So you have to be extremely on point and organized. And I think once I got there, I got even more organized, Accommodation taught me a lot of people, how to organize myself, how to organize my day, how to fit everything in a 9 to 5, or check out to check in, and just be efficient, because the team was so efficient. The team in accommodation, like, they have a time per room that they have to clean. So for example, a standard double bedroom, it's like 30 minutes. It's 7 minutes for a bed. So everything is so precise, so we don't just have to keep up, but we have to be, we have to kind of be organized and be better, like. So, but accommodation, definitely. Operations now, it's kind of everywhere. So it's, it's nonstop as well, like,
I guess that leads into my my next question perfectly then. So obviously Hodson Bay looks like a proper destination resort, like the weddings, spa, golf, events, rooms. As an operations manager today, how do you keep all those moving parts running at once smoothly?
Well, I suppose you kind of have to trust your team as well, because you can't be there 24/7. And we have a very good team, like, I can't be there myself from morning to night. It's impossible, so we do pass on to each other. We are very organized. You can't, like, you wouldn't be able to do the volume of guests we do. Like, we need to have 200 bedrooms.
Okay.
It's now we've 176, but like now for the summer, it's mostly family orientated. We have the Bay Sports beside us, which is I think, well, what they say themselves, that they're the biggest inflatable water inflatable park in Ireland. So we have a lot of families, we have a lot of kids. We talk about 120 kids every day, So in order for this to be kind of running smoothly, we have to be organized from the morning, and it's nearly like a factory kind of, everything falls into place, and everything has to be precise, because otherwise it's just chaos. We'll have breakfast for 400, then you have lunch for 350 guests, then you can have dinner easily now 500 guests between two restaurants. So takes a lot of organization. And then of course we have a meeting every morning, and we discuss, okay, what's the plan today, who's where, and that's kind of how it's a lot of trust, I suppose, in your team.
Wow, it sounds like it's a big operation then, because 500 covers for a dinner is that is a lot. So props to you for that. And I think once again it leads into another one of my questions, is like, what does a typical day look like for you? Because I imagine that no 2 days are the same, but I think what you were saying there, like how organized you are, having a meeting every day, I think that's actually a lot further along than a lot of other venues are, because from what it sounds like so far, you guys are very organized. So like, what does like a typical day for you look like on average?
So, well, firstly, I get in, I have a cup of coffee,
All three.
Then I go around and kind of check on everyone, I go around to each department. Are you okay today? I kind of find out, have everyone showed up, because could be like, oh, this person's not coming in, okay, let me get somebody. We always have to be fully staffed. There is no, you know what I mean? Like, you can't, it's not ideal putting the pressure on the team if somebody doesn't show up. Like, so I go around, check on everyone. How are you today? Do you need anything? Then if it's any issue, I try to help, and we find the resolution. And then we have a meeting at 11 o'clock with all the heads of departments. So then we run the plan of the day and the plan for the next day. because it could be last minute bookings, it could be a funeral. Can we take it? Have we any location? So we do that every day without a fail, every day for the
That
last
is
30 years.
that is that's
I worked in
dedication.
a different hotel where this didn't happen, you
Yeah,
know. So you kind of walk in and be like, okay, what's happening today? What we doing? But in here we have 11 o'clock meeting, and then we have another one at 3:30. But the one at 3:30 is most like food and beverage. So we'll
okay,
have the chefs, restaurant manager, and the food and beverage supervisors who's there, and then we'll actually do the plan for that evening. We run in, okay, who's doing what, that's every day, 20 minutes every day. Yeah.
wow, okay.
Yeah.
What are your hours like then? Are you there like early morning to late night, or how does it work?
No, I don't do that. I did that when I was in my 20s, like,
Yeah,
I can't do that anymore. No, so depends on the day. If it's a day where we have meetings, we could have, well, we have the morning meeting, but then we have different kind of meetings. We have like health and safety. Then we can have a HR meeting where we do recruitment. I have a
yeah,
big involvement in recruitment as well. So it could be different kind of meetings going through the day. So if it's like a day where we have meetings, I do like a 9 to 5 kind of thing.
okay,
Like I go home. If it's like a weekend, if we have like a big wedding, if we have a lot of functions, I could do like 1 to 9 or 1 to 10. When I first started now, especially after COVID 2021, my longest shift clock in and out was 24 hours.
oh my lord.
It was 24. And when I said that to the new starters, because after 6 hours, like, oh, I'm going for a break, my feet are working. I was like, you are 22, like, how you are so tired at your age, like,
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
started, it was just after COVID. We were trying to build the teams. I was food and beverage manager. So I started 1 o'clock with a big wedding. We had a 360 wedding. 1 o'clock lunch, drink reception for the wedding, went into bar food from 5, went back to the wedding in the bar. We cleared the wedding, stayed with the night team till 6, went in at 6 in the breakfast. I opened the breakfast, did breakfast for nearly 400 guests, got the restaurant open for lunch, and I left at 1 on Sunday.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. I think that is
That was my
dedicated
longest
work.
shift ever. And after that, I did, I think, 16, 14, but not anymore. That was when I was in my 20s. I could, but it's at the stage when, like, we have everyone in place that we,
There's no need to do that.
No.
Yeah.
So I do my normal 40 hours a week, ideally, sometimes 45, but no crazy hours. Like, there's no need for that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think obviously when COVID did happen, there was a big toll on hospitality, and even like I was just saying before, when I was working at the hotel, like the chefs would be saying that, sometimes they do have to clock in a lot of hours, and I do think obviously from your side that's obviously some really serious dedication. But in terms of from like the public eye, people when they're at an event, when they're at a wedding, or when they're at an afternoon tea or whatever it is, they don't see the behind the scenes. They don't really see like how hectic hospitality can really be. And I think that's why it's important to speak to people like yourself, because like, I'm not being funny, but you're just someone who I messaged on LinkedIn, and you're someone who's clearly very dedicated to hospitality. And people don't, they go for the event and then they leave, but they don't really appreciate how much work goes into it. So it's really great that you shared that, and I appreciate it.
Thank
but
you.
with the obviously you got like a really nice lakeside setting. This is a bit of a weird one, but do you find that the location brings its like own challenges?
Yeah, I suppose the only thing with the location, we are lucky. It is a blessing because of where we are. Well, of course, we attract a lot. It's not just the families, couples. We have a spa. We actually have a very good spa,
Yeah,
and we have a thermal jacuzzi there on the roof with a lovely view of the lake. So it attracts a lot
nice.
of couples, guests over 50, 60s, families. So then I think the difficulty is combining all these 3 different types of guests in one hotel, because the couples, like if I go with my husband, like we want kind of relax, you know what I mean? We don't want 10 kids running around us or playing under the table when you have dinner. So this is kind of the difficulty, because we'll have the families with kids, like we could like last night we had 80 kids in the hotel, and then you have couples who want to relax, who don't have kids, or we have couples who left their kids at home with their parents because they want to go and relax, and now they
Yeah.
have to listen to other people's kids,
Yeah.
and then we have the older guests who are actually here to relax, and they don't want to hear any kids or grandkids, or so that's what's difficult, trying to keep everyone happy, which are they're there for different kind of reasons and different, that they come to us. The great thing is this, because we are on the lake and we're actually far away from town. Our food and beverage, if we are full house, we will have 90% of whoever stays in the hotel will eat in our restaurants,
Okay.
because going to town, it's about 15 minutes drive, and then you have to come back, so
Yeah.
it's kind of a hassle. There is
Yeah.
no bus or anything to town at the moment, so that's, in a way, but we have two restaurants, and it's we have the capacity to do this. But yeah, that's the challenge, trying to make everyone happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess an operation that size, that's quite big. Where do you tend to find the biggest bottlenecks to be?
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage. What
Yeah,
specifically?
just in general, because it's constant, with rooms, like it's kind of 9 to 5, you have a big checkout, and with
Yeah.
rooms is more, we have 176 rooms. Yeah, we know we
Mm.
have 176 rooms. We will service these rooms, and that's it. You might get 2-3 rooms extra. That's fine. The team is so it's a high performing team in accommodation. They'll be able to handle it. It's no problem. Even if we give them one extra on the day, it's no problem for them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We just clean all the rooms and then we go home. Food and beverage, you open and then you have a bus of 20 people coming in, and now we are moving tables,
Yeah.
and the managers have to jump in because we didn't plan. Of course, we're not going to say no. We're beside the lake, and,
Yeah.
and if a bus goes to Bay Sports and then decide to come to us for tea, coffee, and scones, we will of course take them, no problem. But then everyone is hands on deck. Food and beverage, what I found from my last 15 years doing hospitality, as much as you plan, you are never 100% ready,
Yeah.
because there's always something happening. And even like you think it's a quiet Monday, and then the bar just gets absolutely packed. And you'd be like, where does all these people came from? But sure, it's sunny outside. We're at the lake. Everyone is walking their dogs and whatever, and they decide to stop by,
Yeah.
So, yeah, food and beverage is the most volatile, or it's always something happening. You can't say like, oh yeah, we've organized and that's it. Never.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess like it's like moving things around, resetting tables, or you get walk-ins that are wanting to stay for something. I guess it can be a lot of strain. How much of the team's time, like from what you can see, like during busy periods, like check-ins, check-outs, usually goes on like repetitive, like admin sort of stuff, or is it not a lot?
Well, years ago it used to take me more time than now, but your time shortens with your experience, I suppose. So, for example, if we had few new managers start in the last few months, it takes them about 4 or 5 hours to do the roster. Takes me 40 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is some tasks that I will do probably 3 times faster than others. That's because I've been doing it for so many years, and for me they're so logical and they're so evident that it's like, for sure, this is easy. This is just, but yeah, I do. There is a lot of admin between rosters, recruitment, induction, or onboarding. Then even if it's anything HR related, could be meetings, could be projects. We're doing a lot of projects in Hodson Bay. We are refurbing the breakfast room. There's few other areas being refurbed. So there is a lot of admin as well. I suppose it depends how efficient. I usually spend like two hours in the morning between 9 and 11. Go from a walk, and even after 11, 12, 1, after 1, ideally I'm on the floor if it's busy. If not, I go back to recruitment or something or anything but yeah, it's doable. It comes with experience, I think.
Yeah. When you have more skin in the game, it gets a bit easier, and you know what works and what doesn't.
Yes.
What have you changed or brought in over the years that you've been there that's made like a big difference, like operationally day to day, if anything?
There've been a few things, yeah. So in accommodation, there was a lot of changes in accommodation when I went in. So we did refurbish as well, but we did operational changes. We did as well, like even the way we divided the rooms. We got new equipment. We got new equipment for public area. We got 2 machines for public area because Hodson Bay it has a very wide footprint. So, and everything was manual labored, all the corridors, everything. So I was like, well, this is not possible. This, it takes too much labor. So then we got machines to do the work, I suppose.
Nice.
And we got new trolleys for housekeeping. Actually, the video I posted with the trolleys last year when they got delivered went actually kind of nearly viral. So there's
really?
a magazine now. Yes, there's a magazine now from UK that picked up the video, and they're like, oh, they want to have an interview, which I will soon, but they picked up the video because our trolleys were, since they opened like 20, 30 years ago, and they were quite old. They were not even, they were like made, somebody just made them, put together, like. So it took me 2 years. This was a big project. It took me 2 years to get them, and they were delivered from Belgium, and they're custom made for our hotel, because our hotel is kind of, there's 2 parts kind of put together, but the old part has like these corridors that are very like narrow. So you need a specific trolley to go on those corridors and go the corners.
Yeah.
Whatever we had here in Ireland would not fit. So I had to go to see who can make a custom trolley. The rep came to Hodson Bay. We looked at the corridors, we looked at the stores, we took the measurements, and then it took about 8 months to be made. And then they were delivered from Belgium on a pallet. And when we got them, I was like, oh my God, I thought I would never see them, But it was a long, 2 years of a project. There's good few things I implement there. Could be from small things, breakfast, the buffet changes. We did table service for COVID for breakfast.
Yeah.
That was a challenge. Now we're back to buffet, thanks God. I don't know how you do table service for 400 guests,
No. That's a lot.
For breakfast. But yeah, it could be anything. Design. I'm kind of, I'm not just operations, but I have a very good eye for detail.
Okay.
So literally, if I walk into the hotel, like anything that's, greenery, flowers, all that's me. Weddings, new drink receptions. Like the bride and groom will come with an idea, like, oh, we want a autumnal, or we want some kind of theme. And then I was like, okay, I have to put it together kind of way, like, So yeah.
Quite a few things then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's never ending,
Yeah. I guess it's always like a game of just optimizing and making it all a lot more smooth and easier for everyone. You've obviously seen the industry like shift over time while you've been in it.
Mm-hmm.
What's changed the most, do you think, in how hotels and venues like yours actually like operate today as opposed to like 5-10 years ago?
I don't think anything changed really. Well, we are more compliant, I suppose, when it comes to like, even with this, like I'm telling you, like when 10-15 years ago, when I started in Ireland, if you were under 18, nobody cared if you were working till 11 o'clock, like, especially in the pubs or the small restaurant. There was no such thing. Now the staff want to stay,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my mom doesn't mind. I know your mom doesn't mind, and I know you want to stay, but you have to go home at 10.
Yeah.
Oh, I go behind the bar, and I was like, you're not going behind the bar. No, I do appreciate the enthusiasm, but with the new laws that are now with with the HR and employment and that, like, we can't, even if they want to, we can't. So that's 10 years ago, it wasn't so much emphasis, now everything really needs to be, you are 16, 17, you go home at 10, you're not staying later. You are 17, you're not touching the wine, you're not touching, you know what I mean? Years ago, there wasn't much care, I found,
A lot more lenient with what you could do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even if with the, people used to work 50, 60 hours, not anymore. That's not happening. Well, not in our hotel. In our hotel, it's not happening. Maybe other hotels, but not anymore. We don't roster staff over 39. Even they'll come to you, oh, I need 45, 50. I was like, you're not getting 50. That's not happening. You know what I mean? Before you roster them for 6 days, oh, I can work 6 days. Like, no, you're not working 6 days. Like it's all the mental health, and that came into place as well the last 2 years after COVID, and
Yeah.
health and wellness. There was no health and wellness when I started 15 years ago. You know what I
No,
mean?
very
There was no
different.
such thing. Now everything is health and wellness, mental health. They get upset. You have to be very careful how, even with the staff, it's
Yeah.
completely different. Like when I started in Ireland, um, I was working in a restaurant, and the chef, and he was the owner and the chef, like he literally threw a pan at me from across the kitchen.
Oh
So
dear.
that was 15 years ago. If you do that now, you are in court.
Yeah,
You
that
can't
would be
even raise your
terrible.
voice, like, yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that today.
Well, yeah,
That
it was, yeah.
very different times. Very
Yes,
different.
yeah. You won't
Um,
get away now with what, you know, let's say you got away 15 years ago, like,
yeah, I think it's the same with a lot of industries. With everything, it
yeah.
is all a lot different. Just a few more questions then, because I know obviously
Sure,
I'm
yeah, yeah, yeah.
careful
Yeah.
of the time. What do you see being the biggest challenges for hotels like yours over the
Yeah.
next few years?
Well, what I can see myself now, what happens is, the hotels and the hospitality will always be, you need the human. I know AI is coming, and that will replace, it's already replaced, I suppose, some HR, things that we do,
Mm,
and some, design and marketing and social media, and that's all great. But
yeah,
for hospitality, we will always need staff. You only need
of
staff to
course.
clean the rooms. You'll only need staff to serve the guests. You're not going to have a little robot coming and serving a
No,
wedding, 200, 250. You will need the staff. The
yeah,
only thing what I see being a challenge maybe the next 10 years is, so my generation, let's say, and even previously, they are much more resilient. you know like we have the senior staff who are in their 50s. They will stay till like midnight, 1 o'clock, and they make sure everything is closed, everything is great. The younger staff who are 19, 20, 21, at 11, clock out the gap.
yeah,
They don't have the responsibility. They don't have the resilience. Oh, I'm tired, I have to go
yeah,
home. They don't have the same drive, you know my generation would have. So even on the floor, like, if I have three of the senior staff on the floor, my God, it's flying. And they're like, it's there's nothing is, they can do 60 covers. I have to have 4 or 5 of the younger ones to do the same amount of covers,
yeah,
and somebody has to be with them. So their resilience, their initiative, taking ownership, all of that is completely different. Like when I started Hudson Bay 8 years ago, for example, there was one person opening breakfast. Now we have 2, 3.
okay,
I had one lady, she was opening breakfast by herself, everything, everything.
yeah,
And the supervisor used to come in at 7:30, 8. Now we have 2 opening, and the supervisor have to be there at 7, because it's
right,
just so, it's, and as well, minimum wage went up, and it probably will keep going up, but the generational is completely changed, and the way they work, it's completely changed as well. Like I have new staff that are 17, and it's like, can you go and hoover the breakfast room? And then they look at me, it's like, do you know how to hoover? No. Have you never hoovered a hole? No. Do you know how to map? No. So we actually have to start, if they're like 16, 17, teaching them how to plug in the hoover, how to use the hoover, the map, how to everything step by step. They don't have that from home, they
yeah,
don't have that from home. Their parents don't ask them, go hoover the house, do the dishes, map the house, or go, none of that. It's like we have to really start from zero with most of them. So yeah, I think that's going to be a challenge.
yeah. I find it crazy how similar it seems to be, because everything you've described is everything I saw when I was working at the hotel. It would be the young ones doing front of house, where you need way more of them. I remember one of them was just asking, like, how do I use this mop? And I was like, what do you mean, how
Mm.
do you use a mop? I was like, what? And I think it seems to be more of like an industry thing where people are just employing a lot younger people. Obviously it's
Mm.
cheaper, but then there comes those issues of it, because if they don't actually want to do hospitality when they're older, they
Mm-hmm.
just treat it as like a part-time pocket money job, and like that's where it comes in, where they don't really care, they want to leave early,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes across to the guests as well. So I think It's
Oh
definitely an
yeah,
industry wide
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
especially in the
And
UK as well.
yeah, some of them they don't even have the personality or the actual introverts because they don't,
Yeah,
you know, they didn't grow up playing outside with kids. They grew up gaming. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So they are quite introverts. So
yeah,
you can't as much coaching as you do and cultural coaching and guest interaction. They do not come out of their bubble. You know,
yeah,
they are afraid to approach guests. They're afraid if a guest will ask them a question. You know,
yeah.
so even their interaction and that it's different. Like, yeah.
Okay, okay. And what part of running a hotel, just touching on like what we sort of said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, do you think that guests never see or appreciate?
Well, guests definitely don't see the work goes behind.
Yeah,
They don't see even turning around the rooms, like, you'll have dinner for 200 in the restaurant, and then that room has to be turned nearly overnight for breakfast,
yeah,
or 364, 420 we do. And then from breakfast, 2 hours, it needs to be turned for lunch. So the guest
yeah,
doesn't care like he had breakfast at 11. He will come in at 1 o'clock in the restaurant, and that has to look spotless, presentable, ready to go. It doesn't even have to look that we had breakfast in there 2 hours ago.
yeah,
There's a lot of work going behind, turning the restaurant around, turning the bar, turning from a wedding to a conference. And the guest doesn't realize, oh, or even closing the bar, then you have to open again next day for, people be there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning drinking. Then we have to clean everything like nothing happened,
yeah,
open it for coffee dark for people to come in and have a scone and a coffee the next morning. So there
yeah,
is a lot of work behind, even cleaning the rooms, families checking out, leaving the rooms like a movie. Okay.
yeah,
Anything and everywhere, and it takes 3 staff an hour and a half to bring it to a high standard. um because the next guest that checks in, sure, he doesn't care that was somebody in there with 4 kids. you know he's paying the same amount of money, he needs to have the same experience. So
yeah.
there's a lot of work behind the scenes that the guests don't see you know
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess my final question then is obviously
Yeah.
you're running a very serious operation, and from what it
Yeah.
sounds, you're very clearly running it quite well with how organised you are. If you could wave like a magic wand and fix or
Yeah.
change one thing about how it all runs day to day, what would that be for you?
If I could fix something,
If you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about how the operation runs day to day, whatever it is, what would it be?
um I think operationally it runs quite well, with the teams we have.
Mm-hmm.
uh I think because the hotel, it is an older hotel. It's not one of the new hotels. It's
Right.
opened a few years ago. There is a lot of refurbishment that we are doing and that we did and that we will still have to do. You know what I mean? So even the fact now, we had a heat wave now the last few days.
Yeah.
Now we have 176 bedrooms, 121 don't have any air conditioning.
Oof.
you know so you go in there in the morning, you're the manager on duty or operation manager, GM manager, whoever you are, you get a phone call from reception, this guest is complaining, could not sleep last night. So if anything I would do, I would have air conditioning
Air
everywhere.
conditioning.
Because it makes, and even in like the kitchen, the breakfast room, it was unbearable to work for the
Yeah.
staff. Like it was 32 or 35 in the breakfast room on Wednesday. Like, because there's no conditioning and it's all glass. You look
Oof.
at the lake, it's all
Not
glass.
ideal.
So it was literally like a sauna. So if it's anything I would probably do, I put air conditioning, because we have actually this issue with the heat every summer. It's not a new issue. It's not
Yeah.
just because of the heat wave. It's every summer.
Every
It's every
summer.
summer. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we don't tend to learn. I don't think. I think it's it'll be fine
Yes.
next year, and it's like, oh, actually, it's 10 degrees hotter than last year, and it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
So
But in
yeah, it's good.
Ireland, we're not used to this kind of heat, even if it's only for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even in the UK here, we are. I think it's something stupid like less than 5% of the population has aircon. I mean, I've bought a portable aircon a couple of
Mm.
weeks ago because I was like, if I'm working in here all day, it's too much. So yeah, especially in the kitchen as well, when the kitchen is boiling hot as it
Yeah.
is, or when you're running around in uniform trying to keep
That's
everyone
the thing.
happy
Yeah.
with 35-degree heat, it's It's ridiculous.
I was actually in UK last weekend, but the heat was more intense than Ireland for sure. Like I was in London. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was in London as
we,
well.
we were in a hotel actually without air conditioning because we didn't realize when we booked, or we didn't thought we needed.
Oh
So it was
no.
like 35 degrees and I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, serious heat in there as well.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, Tabby, I really appreciate you jumping on. You've given a lot of insights here, which I think other people are going to find useful, and I appreciate you giving us like an inside look into how it all runs there. So, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Dylan. Thank you.